very good win. I was really pleased with the way the team responded after half. You know, it's not that, you know, we played bad in the first half, but we had some bad plays. And, you know, starting with putting the ball on the ground. It kind of, you know, sucks the life right out of the stadium when you put the ball on the ground and give up 7 points early, and that obviously can't happen against better opponents. And it just kind of puts you in a pissed off mood, you know, right from the start. But really pleased that, you know, that we were in control for the entire game offensively. I thought we really moved the ball well. Again, with turnovers. With Will, I think there was a bit of a miscommunication on that. I think the ball came on him a little quicker than he was anticipating with the communication with him and Luke, and so turned into a fumble and a scoop and score, and so that was a rough way to start, but really pleased with the way the team bounced back and had a dominant half. Again, we had an opportunity to really put it away and put the ball on the ground on the 2. That can't happen. It hasn't happened much lately, and we got to get back to the basics and working on that. I challenged the team at halftime because I wanted to see some younger players in the game. I wanted to see guys that have been around here for a long time that may be playing their last game in this stadium, and they deserve the opportunity to get some reps, and that's fun, and that's joyous for all of us to watch those guys play that work so hard that don't get an opportunity to play. So it was important to take charge and be dominant in the second half, and they did that defensively. I think that's what you know, always aggravates me. It wasn't like they were scoring a lot, but the drives, the possession in the first half. I want to say 3 drives led to 3 field goals, and you know, kept the ball away from us a little bit. And so in the second half, we got off the field, especially early on some third downs, and created the separation that we had. So happy for the seniors, happy for the guys that played that don't normally get to play, and you know, really happy that our team, you know, finished really strong. So we have a big game coming up this next week, and that's our concentration.
About that game, Mark, it seems like for fans, maybe that Louisville game's going to define how this season is perceived. How much pressure do you allow your guys, I guess, to feel themselves this week?
Well, I mean, if we're affected by that pressure, we got problems. We have a little bit of pressure all year, don't we? I mean, every day, every game. I mean, we live in that world. I mean, I thought I heard that every day for the first 5 years, every game. So it's every game's important. We live there all the time. It's about our preparation, and I really appreciate the way our team's been practicing. We weren't always perfect out there today, but as I mentioned, our prep has been really good. And I feel like the guys are really getting focused, really dialed in, and really committed to becoming a better football team down the stretch and finishing strong. And we need to have that same week this week.
The last couple years going into this game, I know last year was different, but you get this big win, get some young guys out there, get those kind of reps, and get some rest for the guys too. How big is that going into this week?
I think it plays a part, you know, in it. You know, it's nice. We've had some late games, as I mentioned in the press conference, and you know, when you're on the road or at home, you know, the late games can beat you up, you know, as the year goes on. But it's nice to get done early, you know, let our guys try to get a little bit of rest and feel, you know, feel good, challenge them to get that rest that they need. So we start our prep on Monday.
Today was senior day. I know one senior day, a lot of seniors made big plays. Just what's it like for them to see them have success kind of in their lives? Josh, Quandre.
Yeah, Josh started, you know, Josh Ali and Josh Pascal both had big games. I mean, Josh started the game with a big tackle loss, and Josh had a big game. Josh Ali had a big game, and all those guys, I mean, Luke, Darian, you name it, they've done an awful lot for our program. They've won a lot of games, and we appreciate them, and so it's important to send them off this way.
How much attention have you been able to pay to Louisville the last few weeks? They seem to hit their stride after a difficult season.
Yeah, I caught some of that game the other night, and looked very good. Obviously, just on the TV, catching them, putting up a lot of points. So you know, they'll have my full attention as we get done with this.
One
press
real,
conference.
sorry.
That's all right.
Wandale's pretty close to setting a single season record for receptions and,
Amazing.
it's a tie, 6 to break.
Mm.
And it's close to, you know, cause within kind of striking range of the reception, receiving yards record, but just having it, I mean, he's been what I think you thought he would be, but just what does he bring to the table just every week and then?
Well, as I mentioned, I think the biggest thing that you notice with Wandale, that he has an opportunity to do that, that'd be great. But that's not his focus or ours. I mean, he's a very unselfish player. He plays better than you think away from the ball when he's not getting the ball. He plays hard, he's selfless, and he's a good teammate. And practices hard and plays hard. So, you know, I think that's the biggest takeaway. He's created explosive plays. And, you know, Josh really stepped up tonight, and I thought Josh really played a big game, being strong. They were bringing all kind of pressure, you know, getting the ball out, and Josh making some, you know, making some people miss, you know, creating some first downs, just making some good catches. He bounced back. He had the one drop early, and then he responded and played really good the rest of the second half.
Having both those guys out there too, you know, what has it done recruiting wise?
It's gonna help us. It's definitely gonna help us. I mean, obviously having Will, who's gonna help us, and throwing the football. what did he throw for today? I don't know.
419. 419.
Yeah, I mean, you know, throwing the ball like that, and you know, it's gonna help us recruit, you know, receivers. We needed to, and you know, with that, there's some give and take. That's, as I mentioned early on. I mean, I was committed to moving the program forward, and there's gonna be some ups and downs with that, and we're seeing, you know, some of that with some turnovers and, you know, interceptions and things, but Will just bounces back. He's very confident. Guys just go right back on the field, and they're creating big plays, so we're definitely getting better, and I feel like we've gotten better the last 2, 3, 4 weeks, you know, and it's because of the way they're preparing and the way they're practicing.
You've talked about, you know, you're okay with aggressive mistakes on defense, you know, you get a PI here and there. Do you do the same way about, you know, Will when he's trying to fit a ball into a tight window there?
Yeah, it was a tight window. I think, you know, there was another throw earlier where maybe there was some separation and he needed to put it on. And so he carried that over and he was trying to put that on, and DB undercut it and made a nice play. So it's just constantly getting reps, and every play is different. It's hard to simulate, you know, where they're at all the time and how they're going to respond. But, you know, I like the way he shakes it off and goes back out there and continues to play.
Mark, were you pleased to see Derrick Jackson out there moving around?
We mentioned that to the team. You know, that was part of the reason why I jumped him at halftime, because I wanted to see a dominant performance, and I wanted to see some guys out there, and Derrick was a great example. Here's a guy that is coming back from a serious injury, and we were joking about, I challenged him, and, you know, Jason brought this to my attention. You know, it's the first time I've seen him smile in about 7 to 9 months, you know, and so, you know, the young man needed some reps, and that's why we have to take care of business. So guys like that get back in there, get the rust off, and have some joy from what he's doing and how hard he's worked, you know, to get back on the field.
Guys like him and, you know, going back to, you know, JJ, I mean, they look pretty good for guys coming off some pretty rough injuries that, you know, that take a lot of time to recover from typically. What is it just you guys do, I guess, strength and conditioning wise,
Well,
making that easy?
yeah, I think our you know, both our trainers, you know, our doctors or trainers do a great job, and our strength and conditioning team. And the players have to work exceptionally hard. You know, when we played last week at Vandy, I mentioned that I'd spent some time with Bud Dupree, and Bud's coming off of, you know, same injury JJ has, and you know, I have to stay on JJ because Bud's a professional, he's mature, and he's on it, and he's still, I mean, he was telling me the things that he does, how hard he works to continue to rehab and continue to strengthen. And obviously JJ's done that as well. He's had a few little setbacks, nothing major, nothing structurally, but you got to continue to strengthen that and continue to rehab it.
Mark, only one player in program history has had more 100-yard games than Chris Rodriguez this season, but the fumble issue seems to be this cloud. How do you evaluate how he's played?
Yeah, I think, you know, that's obviously, it's unacceptable because he's a better player than that. You see that when he's locked in, and Chris has been practicing very, very good. You know, he's dialed in, he's working hard. It happened. He can't, you know, I don't want to overthink this one. there was definitely an issue early. It's not acceptable, it's not okay. You know, I feel like, interceptions are gonna happen, but there's no excuse for fumbles. You know, and I can't, you know, give him an excuse for this one, but I know he'll get it corrected, and he'll be dialed in, and he'll have a great week of practice, and I know him, that's the competitor in him. But there's really no excuse I can't give him one. You know, there's no reason to fumble the ball at the 2-yard line.
The New Mexico quarterback got loose on a few scrambles. The next quarterback, he's gonna run all over the place. How do you coach your guys up when defending quarterback scrambles?
Yeah, it's true. There, you know, the discipline of it tonight. You know that there was a few early and nothing that got crazy, but it did buy him some time and get some, you know, 7 to 8 to 10-yard runs. And yeah, the next guy we're gonna play can those 10-yard runs can turn into 20 or 30 in a hurry. You know, extremely athletic. The things I've seen on the TV when I've watched them. So we have to be very disciplined in our rush lanes, and we have to change some things up. You know, there's times when you have to pressure, there's times when you have to make sure we're disciplined in our rush lanes, and you got to mix up how many you bring, whether it's 3, 4, 5, 6, you know, 7 if you have to. You know, bring them. You know, so you know, you got to mix it up because he's a very talented player, and we have to be very disciplined on our end.
What's the value in putting a smile on a guy like that?
It's not just, it's not as easy as that, Lonnie. I know it's easy watching TV and say, hey, just fire that guy. You know what I mean? I don't know why we work so many hours. You know, it's like, just fire him. There's a lot of issues, believe me. That is part of it. I mean, that's part of it, but it's not just the end all.
You mentioned getting those young guys in. Which one of those really popped off once they got onto the field?
I can't tell, you know, I can't tell just from watching it. You know, D-Jack, you know, I figured his, you know, seeing him, the physicality of his, you know, a few of his tackles, I felt like he jumped out a little bit, which was good to see. So.
For young guys like that, I mean, I know maybe you're going to second team defense or something, maybe fans might dismiss, like, oh, well, what they're doing is a real, you know, team or whatever, but just visualizing that success, is there something to that, just getting that action out there and being able to kind of see?
I think it's positive. It's always a confidence builder, and it's just good for young men to get reps. You know, as they get plays, as they get game reps, they get better, and experience matters, and all that out there, because we practice so much against each other, and you know, some of the down the line guys, they don't get as much scout work either. So just seeing plays live, seeing different teams, you get better with the experience.
I know you mentioned a lot of guys happy to see people play, but there were a lot of smiles when Bo got that touchdown.
Yeah, it was good, and he made a really nice throw early. I believe it was on the 3rd down. It may have been a second and long 3rd down. Anticipated through a back shoulder completion, and just to get him reps. Once again, it's just important to get him out there. He's one play away from playing a bunch of snaps, and it was nice to see Nick get some at the end. You know, I didn't want to throw it. You know, when Bo got in there, I had to get a few throws in there. You know, because you know, just for what I was just talking about, just getting game reps and seeing him throw and catch, and but at that point, it was getting away from us, and always want to respect the game and not you know, abuse that situation.
Everybody good?
Thank you.
All right,